that, let's get back to the topic at hand. Is a new kind of and different kind of newswire, one more about marketing of the news. And from the founders here, I'll hand the mic over to Mark Willaman, who's co-founder of Newsworthy.ai. If you could introduce yourself and then pass the mic to David, that'd be fantastic.
Great. Can everybody hear me? Can you see my screen?
We see it in slideshow. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead. You're all set.
Cool. I'm Mark Willaman, as the word said. Some of you know me. I founded HR Marketer, which was a product in the HR space and still is actually for many years. Also founded and ran an agency in the HR space, communications PR firm. I've been working with David for years because when I needed a press release distribution tool within HR Marketer many years ago, I reached out to David, who had just founded PRWeb. And we met, we liked each other, we liked our respective companies, and it became a very good relationship. And I'm going to have David say a few things about his background. I think it's very interesting. David, for those of you who don't know, he really pioneered the press release as a marketing tool going direct to consumer or buyer, which traditionally hadn't been done, along with many SEO benefits back in the day. And David, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that as we get into why you built Newsworthy.
Well, back in I'm not going to go through the whole story, but back in 1997, I sent out a press release for my web development and hosting company that we had just started up, and that was early days of the internet. And so I thought everybody would pay attention, the media would pick it up and run with it, and spent $650 at PR Newswire and got nothing. And so I was out mowing the lawn and I thought, there's got to be a better way. I build web applications, right? And so I just built a free Newswire and let everybody use it. And pretty soon people just started sending me contributions, and it grew into a big thing. It grew into the first news marketing platform. We later took an exit with Vocus, which later became Cision. And so now the PRWeb platform is part of the Cision product line. And so I stayed out of the space for the first little while because of a non-compete. And I was working with Mark maybe about 2 or 3 years ago on a different project, which we've since incorporated into this one. And we were working on that project, and I got to talking to Mark about some ideas I had to actually bring some life back into the press release space, because nothing had happened since we sold PRWeb. All the innovation was kind of geared on the back end, but nobody was doing anything to increase visibility for a press release. And so I had some ideas, and we're going to share those with you here today. But I love Mark. We got along really well while he was a client. We got along really well while I was doing some dev work for him. And so he's more like a brother than a partner, but we built this thing and we're really having some fun with it. And like Ward said, I think we're really going to change the space again. That's the overview.
Yeah, and I'm gonna. This is the last slide you're gonna see until we get into the actual product. But let's keep it informal. There's not many people here, so we can certainly take questions as we're going through this. I don't think we'll take the full 30 minutes, so there is time for questions and discussion. But I think you're really going to find what we're going to show you today quite useful. So let's just go through what is Newsworthy before I jump into the actual platform. So we're more than a newswire, but we are a newswire. So at our core, we do distribute, just like any other major newswire, press releases to, currently it's 500 plus. That'll continue to grow as we secure more distribution deals. And yes, the press releases will show up in Google News and other news portals. We're going into Reddit and some other different forums, but we tick that box of a newswire, which is what you would expect when you send your press release out. But we do a lot of things that are different, and these we like to say fall under the news marketing label. And news marketing, it's really that. It's marketing your news so that your buyers will see it. So we have a really cool influencer marketplace where you can hire influencers that have opted into and listed their services and what they'll do. And I'll show you that in about 10 minutes. And get them to share.
We used to call news marketing media bypass, and that just seemed too antagonistic to the media. And so we call what we do news marketing. It's about bypassing the media, right? Getting your message directly in front of your customer, your buyer, without the intervention of a journalist who may or may not have your best interest in mind.
Yep. And we've done a lot of really good publishing partnerships with different media outlets and different verticals, including HR, which I'll show you again in a moment. And that allows us to actually get releases into niche industry trade publications, many of which have pretty high domain authority scores, which is, great for the backlinks for your company. And I'll show you those today, but that's new. And we're also doing deals with local and regional business publications around the country. So if you want to get your release, seen in a particular state, you'll have those options. We have every release registered on the blockchain. The real cool thing there, aside from just the credibility of having it verified on the blockchain, is it allows companies to self-host, and then you get the traffic, not the newswire. And that can be pretty significant, and you can control the customer journey. And again, I'll show you an example of that in a moment. And then lastly, we have a nifty tool called NewsDB. Pretty simple. You search for topics. We're crawling millions of news articles. We have those. And as you find articles that relate to the news that you're putting out, you can one click and get the journalist contact information, and you use that for your media outreach if you choose to do that. So that's the end of the slides, and let's get right into newsworthy press releases.
Unlike some other platforms, though, that NewsDB is not a subscription thing. It's you pay a one-time fee per contact, and it's yours for life. And I think that's a significant thing. So
yeah. So I'm going to start off. I just picked one press release off our platform, Newsworthy.ai. This went live, I don't know, a month or so ago. It looks like a couple months ago. Talent Board, I think all of us know that organization. And just let me take you through the anatomy of a typical newswire, newsworthy press release. Videos, we don't charge extra for. In fact, there are really no additional charges for files or images or videos. It's a flat price. You have your company information up here. We offer a variety of subscription options: text, email, text, email, and I thought we had another one, RSS, if you want to grab that. So every time this company sends out a press release, you'll be notified. You see the typical embedded hyperlinks. You see the news image. What you don't see is a social banner, but that is also something you can upload. So when you do share your release, then you'll be able to, see that social banner that comes up and, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you share it. We'll also show you other news that this company, in this case, Talent Board, has put out in the past. You can jump to those. You can label your release. This comes into importance for the influencer marketplace. It's how we match influencers. So when influencers come on and register for the platform, they kind of self-identify as topics they have expertise in. And that's how we actually do the matching for press releases. And I'll show you that in a moment. And then you can provide additional information, your own link. You can actually customize what this says at the bottom of your release. And that is a typical press release. If I missed anything, David, please jump in.
The blockchain.
Yeah, so I showed you the blockchain up top. See, it says register on the blockchain. We can click it. And if we click it, you'll see that it takes you to the actual transaction record, and you can even go deeper. And if you're into this, you can see, how it actually all went down. But that means that it can't be altered. So if somebody alters the release, then it just kind of goes, light gray, and there's a message that this has changed. So it's good credibility and source of truth. Now, what that allows companies to do, I just did a search for Food Rescue. This is a company out of Canada, really great organization, by the way. And they're self-hosting. So as people find their release on Newsworthy and you click it, as you see, it's a safe redirect right to their webpage. And the advantage of that is you're going to get all the traffic, and you can control the customer journey, and you can put your own calls to action up. And you can use your own analytics, like Google Analytics, to actually see how many people are actually reading your press release. And we've had some companies come back to us and say, my gosh, I couldn't believe, we got 600 or so visitors the first 2 days after releasing it. That's 600 visitors that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So self-hosting is easy. We have a WordPress plugin for sites that are on WordPress, but you can still do it without WordPress. and it's pretty easy to set up. And there's no extra charge for that. We just offer it as a part of our service. So I'm going to go back into press releases. I don't want to hijack Mr. Grossman's account at the talent board, so I'm going to use my own press releases here. After a release goes out, like any other newswire, you'll get a clipping report. These are usually available a couple, 3 hours after the release. You can click it, and you can see all the wonderful places and click to view it where your press release went out. I always recommend, though, that people actually do Google, DuckDuckGo, Bing, whatever you're on searches, because there's a lot of sites that pick up our news that aren't reflected in the clipping reports. These are established relationships that we have, and we know that the release is going out. But increasingly, other companies are picking up our RSS feed, and other organizations or people on Substack might write a blog about a release they see. And we've been surprised to see the additional coverage. So always recommend the searches right here. Now, I want to also get into the publishing partnerships. So this is an example. Ward, thank you, Ward, is a publishing partner of Newsworthy. But we have, close to a dozen other really strong human resource media outlets that are picking up our releases that relate to the category of HR, just like this. If anybody emails me, I'm happy to give you a current list of what those sites are. It does change from time to time, but I think you'll be pretty amazed. And that's something, just that alone, you're not going to get from other newswires out there. We're pretty unique there. And it's not just HR. We're establishing niche publishing partnerships with a lot of trade magazines and other sites and many other industries, not just HRs, but HR, of course, with this audience is something that is relevant to today's presentation. So your release would be on HR Tech Alliances and some other sites as well. Okay, I'm going to go back and get into the some of the news marketing features, which is select influencers. So after your press release is distributed, you can come back into your account and you can choose to hire influencers. This is pretty nifty, and as far as I know, nobody else is doing it. And again, I talked about how we match influencers to the press release using those categories. And I would definitely recommend anybody that's watching, this presentation now or in the future. It's free as an individual to create your industry, your profile as an influencer. We think everybody's an influencer, and as David likes to say, the 10 right people seeing your press release is a lot better than hundreds of inappropriate people seeing it. So I mentioned earlier, we're getting the news out to all of our distribution points, 500 plus. Other people pick it up, but this is where you can really get granular and target people that are in your industry, and if they share it, it's gonna mean something. And how I just click this release. Now let me just do another tab. Open up this just to show you. This is a release that we put out a while ago, and I'm just going to scroll down, and you can see what it's filed under. So what this means is when I'm going to find influencers, I'm bringing up influencers that had at least one of their categories listed that match my press release. So I can see David. It's sorted from low price to high. Many people come in and charge a lower price because it's good networking. They're using it to meet new people, which could lead to other larger gigs, which we're not a part of. But maybe somebody will hire somebody to do some writing for them or whatnot. So it's a nice tactic. Some pretty influential people have used this to get some relationship building. So I can go through, and Ward, I'm actually looking for you because I think you're here. There it is.
Overpriced, but that's how it goes.
But that's okay. So if I want to hire Ward, I would just hire him. The influencers don't have to accept the gig. They can reject it. There might be a conflict of interest, or it's just not a right fit. But if they are, it's all set up. You'll be notified as an influencer. You can be notified by text message or email, whatever you choose when you set your profile up. And that's really it. Once the influencer gets the job done, they get paid, and they get paid exactly what they ask. So if somebody is asking, for $50, that's exactly what they're going to get. They get the full amount after it's been done. So it's a pretty nifty news marketing tactic, and we are going to be
Question for you on that.
Sure.
You have to have a press release active in the platform to hire the influencers. Is that the basic flow?
Yes.
Yeah, it actually has to have been distributed. And one of the reasons for that is if you have like an embargoed press release and you put your release up, but it's scheduled to say go out this upcoming Monday,
Mhm.
and all the influencers see it, they might start sharing it before then or talking about it, and that might not be what you want. So we just decided once the release is live and you come back in to view your clipping report, that's when you can use the select influencers. And some people, we've spoken to, what they intend to do is hire one or two influencers, say this week, and maybe another couple the next week, just to further extend the shelf life of the news and keep that traffic coming in, and maybe choose a variety of platforms. And not all press releases might be appropriate to hire an influencer who's on TikTok or similar platforms, but some are. So you can just come in and use it as you will, and hire influencers for different platforms. There's all kinds of ways to strategize it, but yeah, it has to be live first in order to do it.
Mark, can you go over to the influencer marketplace side of it?
Sure. As myself, right?
Yeah.
So
We
where
want
I'm
people,
going,
we
yeah.
want people to sign up as influencers as well.
Yeah. So once you're in, you're going to your own account. And by the way, creating the account is free, no credit card required. So you can kind of play around and just, check out the various functionality. Once you choose to send your first press release, you'll just go over the press releases and click add. And everybody that's in attendance today is going to get a courtesy code that you can redeem, which will give you a free press release. So you can just check it out and see if you like it. Which I think
I shared the code in the chat there, so
awesome. Yeah, that's
and
the
anybody on
NW
live
dash.
stream won't see it, but that's okay.
Okay, so this is David. Good idea. I wasn't going to go here, but this is my profile that I put up, and you can see I can add. If I add a service, there's all sorts of, there's a whole bunch of social, but it's not limited to social. You could also say, hey, I'll write a blog post, or I'll include you in my company's newsletter. So you can even really, as an influencer, sign up and have it representative of your company. If you're like a media outlet or a consultant, and you have other products besides just yourself blogging or sharing something on social. And I chose I'm just going to edit this service. If I wanted to do so, I can say my price is going to be, different. Here's the URL. This is what I'll do. This is the filters. This is where I am. This is describing my influence. I'm not going to save it again, but you can, again, pause services. If you just want to take a break, you're going away on vacation, you don't want to be dealing with that, you can do that.
Leave it on. I want to hire you, man. That's $6. That's a bargain. I mean,
hey,
you put that on top of the press release charge, it's still nothing for you to, do that. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
He's worth more than I am.
Well,
and
yeah.
you see your orders, your accepted orders, your completed orders, your earnings, everything's automated. We're not going to be sending you physical checks. We'll, direct deposit it,
And
whatever.
on the earnings, you can just request your payout whenever you want.
Yeah. Now we're going to be doing, I'm going to go back to the press release. We're going to be offering, which I don't want to get into today, but over the next couple, 3 months, we're going to be adding additional news marketing features, really innovative stuff. I'm not going to give it away today, but it's no one else is doing it. So you'll be able to choose a variety of marketing features that are, mostly automated. So you just have to click it and pay for it, and your news will be marketed in a variety of ways, including some really interesting local marketing opportunities to get your press release seen in a particular geographic area. So there's one other product that I did want to show you, and that is the NewsDB feature of our products. Let me go in. I just did a search before this meeting started. You can search on anything you want, unexpected wave of retirements, and you can scroll down, and I can see diminish U.S. workforce could lead Fed to keep rates high. And I see that it's Houston Chronicle. I might want to reach out. So I click the name and I get the email address. And in this case, this is AP, which is interesting. If I open up this article in the Chronicle, then I see it loading, and sure enough, it is an AP. So it's pretty smart if it's not the writer for the actual publication, but the syndicated journalists, we oftentimes are good at getting it. We're getting better and better at this. This is all of our proprietary technology to get emails. Once you get them, You can add them to any list. You can create a new list. You can export it. We're not an email distribution platform in that way, but you're welcome to just export all of your emails and use it as you wish for your
And depending
media outreach.
depending how you buy those credits, it can be 25 cents or less per lookup, which is really economical compared to having to subscribe to a media research platform.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that you're going to get 10 credits when you sign up for your free account, so you can check it out to see if it's useful for you, see if you like it. And again, you can just keep those lists. So once you have this email, it's yours. You can keep it in your however you want and use it for future outreach as well. And yeah, so that, I mean, really, that is I told you I'd keep it under 30. I did. I'm about 6 minutes shy, but would, love to answer any questions. Hope you use your courtesy code and send a press release out and see how it works. I think you'll be pleased with the coverage you get, especially in the HR space. And if you need any, assistance in coming up with press release topics or, helping, brainstorm, I'm always available. I believe, Ward, you may have shared my Calendly link, but if not, we can do that, and happy to, have any one-to-one meetings with anybody that cares to do so with me and learn more about Newsworthy.
I think I'll just answer one of Ward's questions because it came up. The green and the red chiclets. The red chiclets means you're not logged in. The green chiclets means you're logged in.
Up here, yeah.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and if you get
Okay.
an orange one, you stumbled onto my dev environment.
Easter egg.
It should not be public, but anyway, so the orange and green, that's just how I found it easier for me to keep them separated and
Brilliant.
know if I was in a logged in state or not. So that I think you had a question about that.
I didn't know I had that. Somebody else shared it with me, but I didn't know what it meant. So now we know. That's amazing.
Yeah. Since we have a few
Brilliant.
minutes, if there's any questions, I'll answer them. What's also nice about the company profiles here, we have a couple of public relations firms and other marketing consultants that are using us, and some of them have already added 8 company profiles. And what's cool about the company profiles is if you have all these different clients, is the assets for that company are separated. So when you go in to load images for a press release, it's only going to show you all of your uploaded images that you put in for that particular company or that client. And it also pre-saves like your date line and categories, and which you can always edit, but it just makes it easier. So that's actually a really nice feature. So if I'm adding a press release here, I can actually choose my company. And if it's Newsworthy, I use select the profile. There's some demo stuff in here, and then this, you can see how you compose it. It's pretty easy, but it would have, I haven't sent a press release out yet for this one. So that's why it's not showing, but in the future it would show up in your categories and your filters. And yeah,
it's brilliant. I mean, even if you're not an agency, but you have multiple divisions or multiple products and you want to have different profiles for each of those, you can basically create it like a company, and that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Dang, you guys thought of everything.
We're getting there. Yeah. So anyway, we really appreciate everybody that took the time to listen to this demonstration today and spread the word. We think we have something very innovative. Because of my background in the human resources space, we really focused on making companies in the HR space aware of Newsworthy, and we did those distribution deals with a variety of sites. We continue to do those with pretty good media outlets in the HR space that are picking up our releases, and we'll keep building on that. But again, we thank you for showing up and hope you become a customer of Newsworthy.
Yeah, and we don't have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour. We have some time to go over if you want, but I'd love to capture on the recording a little bit of Q&A around some areas that are subtle, but I think so important. And one of them is the influencer marketplace. Anybody that signs up just to post a press release and leverage the news marketing solution that you've built here can, they're a couple clicks away from being also registering as an influencer. Is it the same account, or does it just feel that way to me when I'm in there?
Same account. So once you're in, like you'll see, I just hovered over my name on the upper right here, and you can
Yeah.
see my dashboard, submit news, marketplace. It's all the same. So if you register, there are 2 registration fields on the, if I log out, it's of Newsworthy. Let me just do that. You can see that in the upper left, I'm going to register, right? You can see one of these 2. So I'm just going to log back in again.
Yeah.
You can use LinkedIn, but it's the same account. The only difference, Ward, is if you come in through the influencer marketplace registration, we bring you right to those pages where you can start to build your influencer profile. Whereas if you register as a news distribution, we take you right to the form where you start to complete your first company profile and
Perfect.
then get your
Yeah.
release out. But once you're in, you can just navigate anywhere here to go over to the influencer marketplace and create your profile. Mine's already created, so it looks like this. Otherwise, you would have seen a form where you're going to add your name, a little bio about yourself, and then add some services that you want to offer to the community and for a certain price.
Yeah, and that's fascinating, because I don't know if it's just HR tech or just the people I know, but a lot of the folks that are in marketing, whether it be product marketing or even partner marketing or just the regular marketing roles at these HR HR tech and service companies, they also are pretty, oh gosh, why did promiscuous come into mind? They're not promiscuous online. They're prominent online. Thank you. I have to cut that out later.
Prolific. Prolific,
but
I think is what you were looking for.
yeah, and they're in some circles, they're very influential, and they're trying to leverage that for their own employer or their own business, right? And get the word out when they're posting socially or whatnot, they're on their own. So why not become an influencer in your marketplace to help others, get the word out, especially if they're a partner. This whole session today, or the whole event today, was about partner marketing, and what you showed with the different companies and stuff like that. It'd be pretty easy to cross pollinate. Plus, again, right, be hired as an influencer and help share that. I know you have a whole product around advos, right? With the what's that called? The advos is for customer
The advocacy,
advocacy, right? Yeah.
collaboration.
I mean, that's kind of a whole separate thing, but again, I think the average person that's going to be posting news through your platform should be, and probably would become an influencer in the marketplace and help others spread the word, which is great.
And it's interesting that I've spoken to a couple of influencers in the human capital space, and we have companies coming in from other industries that have releases that somewhat relate to human resources, but they're not well-known brands in the HR space, and they don't know any influencers themselves. So again, it's just a really great way to make new connections to other companies that have a related product that relates to HR, but they're not really considered an HR vendor per se. So different wellness companies, things like that. But it's definitely there's really no risk in having your name up here. And one strategy too is influencers come in and they put a couple services at a relatively low price, under $50.
Yeah.
And then they add some higher priced ones, but just at least a couple just to make new connections. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but once we're going to be including influencer marketing credits and press releases, and that's going to be happening in a couple of days from now, so that when you buy a press release, you're going to get $50 worth of influencer marketplace credits that you can use to help promote that press release. And that's just a part of our pricing. And obviously it's to keep the marketplace growing and active. And they do they'll have to be used for that particular press release, but that'll be included in it. So
interesting.
nice
That's
way to
amazing. Yeah, that'll definitely help get people to action and do that, because it's so important to, and I hear this all the time, people ask, I mean, we had our event in New Orleans, and somebody asked Jessica Miller-Merrill, like, hey, can I pay you to tweet, something out? And she's like, no, she doesn't want to do that.
But
that's because it's a challenge for her have to sign up a new customer just for one tweet, no matter what she charges. It's probably a unprofitable, but coming through your platform, it should be easy. And to your point, a great way to at least start some conversation with a potential
You're right.
customer.
There's no work you really have to do except do the tweet. And with this platform, you don't have to
Right.
take the phone call, negotiate. What are you gonna, yeah, that's all just
The
that's all
billing, everything. Yeah, it's
part of the platform. Yeah.
yeah, and they may never do it again. And obviously, there's also risk on both sides of whether anybody, they might view it, but don't they act if there's a call to action,
Yeah. And I
and who
think in the
knows what.
bigger picture here, in the bigger picture is it's the news marketing. And that's what I think this is why the press releases are still so relevant today. You will get, especially if you self-host, some SEO benefits. And because of our, high domain publishing authority websites that we distribute to, you'll benefit there. But it's really about getting the right people in your industry, your buyers, to see the release. And the press release is step one, but it's the news marketing features that are really the game changer, where you can choose different tactics. Right now it's the influencer marketplace. There'll be more to get your release out into your buyer community.
You mentioned SEO. You have anybody on staff to help that knows that space a bit?
Well, David's probably one of the pioneers in SEO. My gosh, with PRWeb. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to the influencer thing, Ward, and say,
Yeah.
Knowing that we provide a certain amount of funds for every press release, it's not a bad idea as an influencer if you sign up for a service at the sub $50 level, so somebody can afford to use you without dipping into their pocket and pulling out a credit card.
Right.
Right. And you know what, that will eventually lead to other more fruitful engagements. But it's that initial, hey, it's a no-brainer. He's charging $30 for this. I have $50 credit or whatever it is. Done.
Or price it at a divisible amount from the 50. So they can hire 2 influencers, right? And not have change left over or whatever. But
you can hire me 10 times.
That's true. You got, I don't know.
4 to 8 times.
Or get a whole drip campaign going.
You can hire me 10 times.
All right, never have a bidding war here. Yeah, but it's
I think one of those things too that we didn't show is when we match you press releases with influencers, if there's an influencer that just doesn't fit, we have the opportunity to hide that influencer so they don't show up in future searches. So it kind of declutters your choices a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's great, actually. No, this is game changing. It really is, because I hear all the time people are like, hey, can you retweet this and stuff like that, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, they can, but it just adds to the noise that's already going on out there. So this really cleans it up. It also, it commits some level of contribution, even if it's not a big amount, to the influencers. And they might have done it anyway, but it puts it front and circle and says, here it is, right on a silver platter, right? And that's also a huge benefit to the influencers, because they don't have to figure it out. Oh, somebody emailed me a link, and it's like, where is it? I forgot to do it, or whatever. It's all right there in the marketplace. It's amazing.
And I think one of the questions we didn't answer, but I'll just address it, is why a press release? And the reason I chose the press release as my marketing document is because there's a level of trust implied with the news format, right? As I'm getting
Totally.
I'm getting a marketing something in my inbox, it's spam, or I'm getting a piece of news. They're just treated differently in the mind. And so I think using the press release as a marketing document as opposed to like maybe a blog post, there's just something else that happens in the mind when somebody's reading a piece of news and when they're reading marketing copy. And so that's why the press release.
That makes sense. And also, for those, there's a fee involved, of course, for the press release. For those that are thinking of pushing something out there, that will make sure that they feel there's value versus just posting every time they hire somebody or whatever. It's maybe fine on LinkedIn as a kind of company post or something, but not as a press release. And something to it. Can't say I agree with them, but to be a little be a little more selective and And also then to, amplify it with influencers, because then they'll have to, maybe they'll spend more time, crafting the messaging, or maybe, I don't know if they can hire you guys or somebody you recommend to help them, wordsmith or edit the press release. That
Oh
would
yeah, that's
be a good idea.
actually an option we have in our shopping cart. If you want us to write your press release, we have
Well,
editors
in
to
addition
do
to that, every press release goes and passes in front of an editor. So,
Yeah.
so if we see something glaringly wrong, we will make those corrections and improve the press release. I think, and the other question we get, Mark, sometimes is frequency. How often should I be putting out a press release? And Paul Allen, not Paul Allen of Microsoft, but Paul Allen of Ancestry.com and some other things. He told me in my PRWeb days, he says, if you're not putting out one press release a month, you're probably not doing anything exciting in your business, and you're probably not going to be in business for very
Stay
long.
in business, right?
Right. So if you
So
should
true.
be doing something newsworthy every month in your business, and so he said, and it kind of matches up with Google's news. Google News is, a 28-day news cycle. Every 28 days, pop something into the news stream.
Yeah.
At a minimum, but you don't want to announce that you put out a press release. We hired a new janitor or something like that. It's got to be newsworthy. But we generally say at a minimum, once every 28 days to stay in the news cycle.
Yeah, that's good advice, and that's something that maybe a lot of people don't know, and maybe that changes over time. There, you guys need another listing you can put in the marketplace now is a consultation about things like that, like how often and what should be put in it, not just.
Ward, a lot of that comes with our ethos. I think we're trying to create a platform that's relational rather than transactional. We just try to remain accessible. I mean, that was my feeling at PRWeb, and I think it still carries through today. It's just I want to. We're trying to develop. Look, Mark and I, this is a relationship that's outlived PRWeb, right? And so we're kind of relationship minded. So just drop us an email, David or Mark at Newsworthy, and that's it. Yep.
No, that's great. And I put in the chat as well the link if somebody wants to post a press release, they can do it through our website. Obviously, since it gets featured, it should be something about HR technology, or at least in the HR space. Everything has tech built in somewhere these days. But then there's a benefit for running through our site for us, and also for the customer as well, because they get the extra featured level, basically at no extra cost, right? And you combine those kind of things with the domain, what do you call it? The domain authorities, thank you, that you have in the network automatically pick it up, and the extra distribution. And my goodness, the influencer marketplace is you put it all together, and it's like, wow, you guys really knocked the cover off the ball. And there's more to come. I know about it. I'm not allowed to say. I wish I could, but it's, you guys are on fire. So congratulations, and certainly look forward to seeing everybody enjoy the fruits of your labor. And may it be the next biggest thing since Slice Web or
since PRWeb,
the Newswire. Yeah, there you go. Since you invented the Newswire. Great. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I think we'll just wrap up now, unless you have any other closing comments or thoughts.
No, that's it. We've gone a little over. So again, just reach out to David or I if you have any questions. And thanks again.
Outstanding.